FatDag is a Weight Watchers leader in Indianapolis, Indiana. However, the views and opinions expressed during this podcast are his own. They do not represent the views of Weight Watchers. And now, here's your host and wingman, FatDag.
I am your host, FatDag, and you're listening to WhysAdvice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at FatDag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at WhysAdvice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello there. Welcome to episode 157 of WhysAdvice. And I want to give a big shout out to all of you who continue to stay focused on your journey, to continue to stay really in the game is the term I want to use, is you have to show up every day and be accountable. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be amazing, even though you are. You just have to be here. By you listening and tuning in, that tells me more than anything that you're focused and you want to get this done. That's what it takes to win. It takes a mindset where you say, I want this more than anything else that I've ever wanted, and I'm going to put everything else aside and get it done. And I put the show all over the web for you to find so that there's no excuse for you not to listen in. Welcome again to those of you listening on Spotify. Welcome. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on Stitcher Radio. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Twitter. You can find it on Facebook. But my favorite place is, of course, the WhysAdvice with FatDag app. It's a standalone app. The reason I like it the most is mostly because it puts an app on your phone. Doesn't cost you anything. It's a free download in the Apple Store. It's a free download in the Google Play Store. But it puts an app on your phone so that, you know, maybe when you lose your focus and maybe when things aren't going well and you forget to deliberately go look for it, that app will remind you to go log in, to go track your food, and then listen in. And there's 156 other episodes you can dive through, bounce around, do roulette. But thank you for being here. Thanks for being focused. Let's dive into Carrie's email, which is absolutely amazing. Carrie's joining us live on Instagram as we go through this one. But check this out. Mike, hi, I wanted to pop in and tell you about my most recent non-scale victory. 2 years ago, I set out to complete the Dopey challenge at Disney. Dopey consists of a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, and a marathon with one race each of the 4 days in a row. I trained, but seemed to be constantly injured. There's a 16-minute mile pace maximum, and I told myself I can walk that pace, so everything will be fine. In 2016, I was 185 pounds on a 4'10" frame. I was morbidly obese. Without too many details, I was swept. I was taken off the course for going too slow. It was humiliating. Today, I sit here on the airplane, headed home to Virginia from Florida, at 140 pounds, not quite goal, but I'm gazelle intense to get there, with all of my medals. The weight loss isn't the only reason, but it certainly played a big part. It's all about the focus. I focused on the path, one day at a time, to get to where I wanted to be. My whys are finally making themselves apparent. Whys don't have to be huge. I get that now. It has been tough traveling the last 2 weeks, but I made the best choices I could. I have forgiven myself for the not so good choices, and I've moved on. Every day is a fresh slate. Even further than that, your rule of thirds. Fall off the wagon, get right back on the next meal, not the next day or the next Monday. I am so excited to set a new non-scale goal and move forward in my journey. Oh, and everyone needs to find an accountability buddy. If you think it could help, Huge shout out to Beth, my buddy. She is my rock on the less than great days. Thank you for all you do to keep us motivated, keeping you and your family in my prayers. Take care of yourself, and I wish you good focus. Carrie. Carrie is HEMI4CS on Connect. I'll put that link in the show notes, but is this not amazing? I mean, a 5K is hard, a 10K is hard, a half marathon's hard, a full marathon, yeah, that's hard too. To do them 4 days in a row, you're right, that's all focus. Way to focus yourself to a goal. But more importantly, what I think makes you an amazing person, on top of the fact that you completed something that I have not to do, and quite honestly, I don't even have any desire to do. But what I find the most amazing piece in your email is that when you set out to do that in 2016 and you were swept from the course, is the humiliating feat that you felt that day motivated you to go complete it this year. That is incredible. There's so many times in this journey that we just want to give up, that when something happens that we either weren't expecting or we are training and we get a different result than we wanted, so many times we use that as an excuse to say, yeah, see, I told you I couldn't do it. And that doesn't work. But not you. No, you said, dang it, I'm going to do this. And you got focused. You got deliberate. And you went out there and you're leaving there with 4 medals from one weekend. Absolutely incredible. 5K, 10K, half marathon, and a marathon 4 days in a row. It's an amazing experience. That's something that for the rest of your life, no one can take away from you. The joy in that is all you. No one gave you that. No one can take it away. That's 100% yours because you stayed completely focused on what the goal was and got it done. Now, I get that you've been traveling. I get that you made the best choices that you could. I'm glad to see that you've forgiven yourself for the not so good choices and moved on. It's no different than being swept from the course, is you were in this vacation mode and you got kind of swept up, but instead of giving up, instead of giving in, you start over at the very next meal. That's right. It's the rule of thirds. I've talked about it on previous shows, is you take your daily points, divide it by 3, and if something were to happen and all of a sudden you go way over on breakfast, well, then you use 2/3 of what you normally have for points and you finish the day out. If by lunchtime you're way over your points, then use 1/3 of your dailies at that point and have dinner that's something in line with what you're supposed to be having, regardless of where you are in the number. With freestyle now, this becomes even easier because when you're at a point, stop eating points, there's so many 0-point foods that you can now regroup with. So every meal you have the opportunity to reset. If you're getting swept from the course, if the bus is coming by and picking you up, what I want you to do is I want you to ride the bus for as long as you need to ride the bus. But I want you, while you're sitting there, to declare, I am going to win this. Do exactly like Carrie did. Get back out there and win. An accountability partner certainly is very, very much helpful. That's why we all are in the Wise Wingman Facebook group, hanging out, holding each other accountable there. It's why we go to our Weight Watchers meeting to stay accountable there. You need someone who understands you, who can work with you, who can keep you focused. And Carrie, all of that together makes you incredibly amazing. It's truly an honor to walk with you, or as I should say, to walk behind you, because you are just absolutely killing it in the race category. So way to go. Congratulations. Out of Colorado, Wayne writes in and says, Mike, have you ever tried for fun doing the PJ, the pararescue entry pass test? I'll explain that in a minute. You're going for a perfect base fitness score. Why not try another bar in the Air Force for what strong physical aptitude looks like? Question number 2 is, some guys on this journey, I'm asking for a friend, hate running. It's just not fun, but it's always a core part of the mobility of the body, a common repetitive motion we encounter, vital to many sports, etc. How do you push through and find a place of living with it, even enjoying it. Wayne, so the first question is, have I ever tried what they call the PASS test? And it's a test. Basically, a lot of the career fields, or a couple of the career fields in the Air Force, require a little bit different fitness level. Pararescue, combat controller, tactical air control party are just a few. So before we can allow folks to enter into those career fields, we give them an additional physical fitness test, which is absolutely difficult. And I tell you what's interesting in your email is when I first moved to Indiana, 7 years ago now, I looked at the past entry requirements for the career field TAC-P, and I said, yeah, I want to do that. And so I went out and I tried it, and I didn't even come close to passing it. And then I, of course, gained all the weight, and now that I've lost the weight, and that test is certainly on my radar. So it's something that I'm looking to do. And from the run perspective, I have the run time down. Push-ups and sit-ups, I'm probably okay with maybe an exception is they are really, really sticklers for form. And so I may be able to belt out the required amount of push-ups and sit-ups, but there's a good chance that half of the ones I do won't count the way they have them count. But you're absolutely right. It's a great challenge, and I'm ready for that opportunity to go tackle it. And I'll keep you posted as that goes through. To address your second question about, how do you just start loving running? You don't have to. And I don't know where you're coming from the question. So my question back to you, and unfortunately this is not a two-way conversation, but my question back to you is, well, why do you want to run? I don't know. Is it because someone's telling you have to, or because you enjoy it? I run because I get joy out of it. And so when I run, someone asked me on Facebook as we were doing a Q&A session, someone said, what do you listen to when you run? And I said silence. And I said, well, actually I don't listen to silence. I listen to my feet pounding the pavement. And so there was a long time when I used to run with music, and then I would run with a podcast. And the last few runs, I run without music altogether because I use that time to really just kind of like meditating to some extent, as I just kind of reframe my mind. I just kind of get in the right mindset. But I absolutely enjoy that. Now, I don't think you need to go out and run just because someone tells you you have to run. You can get a very much the same kind of health benefit by walking. So just go for an enjoyable walk. Take someone with you who likes to walk as well. There's no shame in doing that. It's the activity of getting up and doing something is more valuable than trying something that you can't sustain and you give up on. So I really want you to focus in on, why do you want to run? Is there something you can do that's not called running that you enjoy that gives you the same aerobic release? And there's plenty of activities. There's swimming, there's cycling, there's kayaking if you have the opportunity. CrossFit, strength training. The point is to find something that you enjoy, because if you don't enjoy it, no matter how much I tell you I enjoy it, it's not going to get you out of the house to do it. So how do you push through and find a place of living with it, even enjoying it? Well, it starts with, doing small pieces if that's what you want to do, but it really finds with you're doing it backwards. Look for something that you enjoy and do more of that. And that is how you're going to get there. So, Wayne, thanks for the email. Thanks for the challenge. Let's connect. Let's figure out, let's see which one of us passes this PASS test first. What do you think? That's right. Out of Newark, Tracey writes in and says, Happy New Year. I had planned to write for some time to say thank you. I kept making goals for writing. When I make it to Wonderland or when I hit 75 pounds, well, I finally hit 80 pounds over the holiday season. Oh yes, it can be done. Imagine that. I pay attention to the plan, I track, I earn blue dots, and it works. As many others have said, this is not my first go-around. I remember being a teenager and going to my meetings with my gram. At that time, there was no privacy in weighing in. And liver was on the menu. Ugh. Glad those days are gone. As an adult, after having our third child, it was time to work on myself. In 2001, I joined Weight Watchers without telling my husband. I didn't want the pressure of disappointing him if I failed. As I got a handle on things, I eventually started sharing with people that I was working the plan. I lost 75 pounds. And then the leader that I liked so much was no longer my leader. A new leader came and went, and I finally decided if I didn't enjoy the meetings anymore, well, that I could do it on my own. Well, I'm sure you've guessed how that turned out. I started slowly gaining the weight back, and then we had an auto accident. We were very lucky to not have serious injuries, but with back and neck issues from the accident, I was not able to do much physical activity. Several years had passed, and the weight continued until I finally topped out at 256.4. How did I let myself get out of control? I was so incredibly lucky to have wonderful children, a supporting husband, a loving family, yet I was incredibly unhappy. My husband and I talked, and he offered to have me go to a weight loss camp for 2 weeks. After some thought, I decided something long-term would be more beneficial, and I decided to give Weight Watchers a try again. After all, I could get several years of Weight Watchers for the price of a 2 weeks at camp. So on August 4th, 2012, I walked into a local meeting, met a wonderful leader, and had so much support from those who were there. People who actually understood what I was going through because they were going through the same thing. I started off with a bang and was tooling right along until I wasn't. It seems every time I had a handle on things, life got in the way. Whether it be a celebration or an emotional event, emotional eating was a huge issue for me. At our youngest son's request, we joined the YMCA. I had always wanted to take water classes, but I was too afraid. I was approached by one of the water instructors and invited to take the class. That was in 2009. I've been working out in the water ever since. Never have I stayed with an exercise program for so long. Then, the emotional roller coaster of life began. First, my father-in-law became extremely ill. As he recovered and I started getting myself back together, my husband went into the hospital after falling out of the attic and breaking his ribs. It sounds strange, but thank goodness he did, because we learned he had a heart issue and needed a pacemaker immediately. The fear of leaving him alone and losing him was just too much, and the eating continued. Finally, during a doctor's visit, my gynecologist told me that I had permission to take care of myself. How could I possibly take care of those around me if I wasn't healthy myself? That was a big turning point for me. I began making goals: track for 4 days this week, drink more water, exercise a little more. I found that making weight loss goals was just too frustrating. The body doesn't always want to do what you expect it to, and it messed with my head too much. Then the bottom fell out. My father became ill, and then all of a sudden, he was gone. At that point, I was hovering at the 40-pound mark. I made it right after he passed because instead of emotional eating, I was emotional not eating. He was my first knight in shining armor. My husband's my second. Sorry, hun. Then the weight started coming back on. Finally, I decided that I needed to get with the program. I started getting some emotional help through therapy. It's not for everyone, but it's worked wonders for me. I am tracking and getting the blue dots. I started 2017 down 39.2 pounds. In March, someone in our meeting mentioned your podcast. I can't even express how much your podcast have meant. My husband and I listen on long trips. You and I have taken many walks together. Funny that some of the things you have talked about, like vacation tracking, not easy when on a cruise, I listened to my body because tracking was so difficult. Yes, I lost weight on the cruise. Midway through the year, we got a new leader for our meeting. As much as I missed my first leader, who I became very close, I had the initial, oh my God, what am I going to do? Well, I kept going. Although I missed my original leader very much, our new leader is great. Phew. In August, 5 long years after starting this journey, I made it to Wonderland. On December 23rd, 2017, I made it to the lowest weight I have been in 14 years. Merry Christmas. And to end the year, I'm down 80 80.8 pounds. Happy New Year. I realize this is an extremely long letter. My apologies. If you decide to share any of this, and I realize that's a long shot, you get so many emails, etc. I just wanted to let people know, don't be afraid to ask for help. Support is out there. We just have to tap into it. I recommend your podcast to many, whether they are Weight Watcher members or not. I thank you for your service to our country. I thank you for your service to Weight Watcher members. I thank your family for sharing you with us. My weight loss has nothing to do with luck. It was focus, and for that, I thank you. Happy New Year, FatDag. Catch you on the next podcast. Tracey out of Newark, Delaware. Tracey, let's attack the obvious in your email first, and my heart goes out to you. What an amazing story that you have, and I'm sorry for the loss of your dad and your husband's injuries and the surgeries and all of that has gone on in your life. And at that moment in your life, you probably absolutely had to do what you had to do. And so now, as your doctor said, you have to take care of you. How can you possibly take care of those around you if you're not healthy yourself? And that permission to put you first puts you in a place where you absolutely can help everybody else take care of them. I'm incredibly proud to hear that you're down 80.8 pounds, the lowest weight you've ever been at. You absolutely know this program works. And what I want to point out in your email is that so many of us believe that this is one of those deals where we can just kind of hop in, lose some weight, get the training, and get out. And the reality is, for so many of us, is that's not the case. And every time we quit, more than likely we're going to rejoin at a much higher start weight. The only way to beat that is to mentally stay focused for the rest of your life. I call it managed obesity. I did a blog post on it. Managedobesity.com is where you can find that. But in essence, what I say is, for the rest of your life, you have to be mindful to this. Now, do you have to be perfect? No. Are you going to get frustrated when the plan changes? You betcha. But if we go back to when you joined and liver was on the menu, there was no privacy in the weighing, that program would no longer be sustainable. So the plan continues to evolve. We evolve with it. So as we stay focused and mindful throughout the rest of the journey, as the plan changes, we simply understand that we can adapt with it. Because if we go without it, there's a good chance we will come back to whatever the plan is 4 or 5 years from now down the road. So now let's address the other piece in your email is the accountability systems that you found in your leader. Of course, these are all my opinions. I'm a Weight Watcher leader here in Indianapolis. I see so many folks who come into the meeting room, and we have a great connection. I love watching their success. We interact very well in the meeting. And I know that I have members that count on me to be there day in and day out. And so hearing your email validates that. And what I mean by that is, as much as I love that responsibilities, you have to really separate the two. And you have to understand that you're in the meeting room for you. Regardless of who the leader is, they're just providing a little bit of information. It's the folks who are in that meeting room together. It's all of that together that makes it work. And so you then just really have to understand that no matter who the leader is, you absolutely can be successful. So just keep focusing on, why did you join? What is the goal? Does what I'm doing now align with that goal, or does it push me further away from that goal? And you can do it regardless of who is leading that room, because you're leading the room. You're leading the charge. Inside your brain, you are the leader. And if you're the leader, then nothing else matters. It doesn't matter if you sustain injuries and you're not able to do physical activity. It doesn't cause you to overeat. It doesn't cause you to not track. So you just stay focused to the part of the plan that works, and the part of the plan that works is the food side of it. You clearly know that it works. Every time you joined, you end up losing the weight that you needed. So you just continue to work the program. I'm very proud of you for taking the opportunity to look into the weight loss camps, but then decide that you needed something long term. For a long time, that was my hope and dream too. Is I wanted to attend, one of those camps. You see the TV shows where folks lose so much weight real quickly, and that's what we want to do. We just want it gone. And if you could send me away for 2 weeks, I can come back a thin person. Who wouldn't sign up for that? But the reality is this is a lifelong journey, and I'd much rather take the time to do it right so that I can live a long, healthy life. I don't want to lose the weight in 2 weeks and then all of a sudden not know how to manage it. Then that frustration continues to kick back in. So you're doing amazing work, Tracey, and it's truly an honor to walk with you as you're out walking and just listening to the podcast and staying connected. The support is exactly as you described. Don't be afraid to ask. And support comes in so many ways, whether it's counseling, whether it's talking with a friend, whether it's hanging out and connect, whether it's being a part of the Facebook groups that are out there. It's there. You have to tell the world what you need. You have to ask for help. And when you do, it's there. You're absolutely right. Your weight loss had nothing to do with luck. It was all focus and all you for being an amazing leader of your own life and get it done. Tracey, thank you so much for your email. Ashley writes in and says, "Hi, Dag. I've been listening to your podcast for a few months. Thank you for the great listen. I'm writing in as I haven't heard a story like mine on your podcast yet, and I know I'm not the only one with this struggle. I originally did Weight Watchers 2.5 years ago at the request of my fertility doctor. I was in the midst of fertility testing and I was focused. I lost 20 pounds in 3 months. I was praised by my doctor and endured 6 months of treatments and awful medical procedures. I found out that while my extra weight did not help, it was not the cause of my infertility. After my husband and I decided to stop fertility treatments, I went into a deep depression. I needed to deal with the emotional side of infertility and loss, and I could not focus on anything else. I stopped going to Weight Watchers, and I fought my way back to my life over the course of the year. I started a new job. I started a new creative side project, and I truly feel the past year has been transformative for me. I continue to struggle with my infertility, but not on a daily basis. My husband and I are still without children. I've been working on my mental health, and I finally felt ready to continue my weight loss journey. In November of this year, I once again found myself at the starting weight I was at when I started Weight Watchers back in 2016. I have lost 15 pounds to date. I consider that a huge success. 2 months, including Christmas and New Year's. I have about 50 more pounds, maybe a little more. I haven't really decided yet, to reach goal. I know I will get there this time, and I'm truly ready. I'm doing this for me, not at the request of a doctor. My weight has been a struggle for the past 10 years. My highest weight was 280 pounds. My lowest weight back in my 20s was 140. As I am 5'10", I know that setting a goal weight of 140 in my mid-30s is not realistic for me. I am currently sitting at 232. My midpoint goal is to be out of the 200s by July 1st. Thank you for allowing me to find a community of others who have the same mindset and mentality. Happy 2018, Ashley. Ashley, the most important part of your email comes towards the end. And you said, I am doing this for me. Folks, that sums it right up, is there are so many reasons that we join. There's so many reasons we want to do this. There's so many opportunities for us to get healthy. There's so many different things that are out there. I really want you to tap into you. Find out what you want. If you do this for you, then man, that becomes so easy to stick with it. certainly life is going to get in the way. And certainly, the story like Ashley just wrote in, of battling with depression and battling with infertility. Yeah, that absolutely takes a toll on one's life. But if you can now think of a place where you are taking care of you, you're as healthy as you can be, you put yourself in a mindset to figure out the rest of what's going on rather than compounding by adding to it, a weight loss struggle. When you started your original treatment 2.5 years ago, at the request of your doctor, you said you lost 20 pounds in 3 months because you were focused. So you've proven that you have the ability to focus. At that point in time, you were very, very focused, but your focus was on a why that was given to you by somebody else. You proved you could do it, right? So there's no question of can you or can you not do it. Without a doubt, you can do it. And now that you're armed with the tools and the knowledge, knowing that not only can you do it, but that you're doing it for you, that the most important part in this entire journey is you. So it doesn't matter where you're at. You absolutely are a huge success. And I sensed a little bit in your email where you say, I've lost 15 pounds today. I consider that a huge success. What I sense in that, and please write in if I'm wrong, but what I sense is by you saying I consider that a huge success is you're trying to justify a number that you believe should be higher. And then you're also then going back, and I disagree with you. I think 15 pounds is absolutely amazing. You don't have to consider it a huge success. It absolutely is a huge success, especially when you include Christmas and New Year's in there. So the fact that you have 50 more pounds to go is actually irrelevant because you've proven that you want this. You've proven that you know why you're doing it and that you're doing it for you. You've lost the 15 pounds, so you know you can do it. I call that goal. I say if I'm right in reading your email, that you're so focused, you're so dialed in, that you mentally are at goal. Now, we've talked about this before. The scale doesn't know it. Your body doesn't quite know it. Your closet doesn't quite know it. But you're about to prove to them what's going on. And mentally, you're dialed in. Mentally, you're focused. You're going to get to whatever goal you want to set in July. Don't battle with the numbers. I want you to stay focused on every day, waking up and doing the absolute best you can, staying on the plan, staying with the plan, eating right, making better choices. If you do that, your body will take care of you. It'll shed the weight it doesn't need. And then you will get to a point in your journey where you step on the scale and you don't want to lose any more weight. And at that point, we'll call it goal. Your doctor will agree. You'll be within the healthy BMI guidelines. Something will tell us that you are at goal. And at that point, you look at the number on the scale, and that's when you celebrate. So don't sit here and try and figure out, is this realistic? Is that realistic? We just don't know. But there's a feeling that you will figure out, and that is how you'll know. Go do that. Finding the community, you're right, is key. Finding inspiration from other people who are doing exactly what you're trying to do. Follow them, work with them, encourage each other to never give up. I can't tell you how often I hear someone who simply says that they thought they could do it on their own. They thought they had it all under control. So they started doing it on their own without the support, and they almost always rejoin. Not you, Ashley. You're absolutely getting it done. Happy 2018 to you. Let's absolutely get out there and celebrate. What is it that you're celebrating? Let's share it on the air. Go to FatDag.com. Click on WhysAdvice Podcast. Send in your celebrations, your comments, your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. I really want you to email in your celebrations. And I say this over and over and over again. Here's why. So many emails come in and they say, I wanted to wait till this point in time. I wanted to wait till I got to this milestone. There's something very therapeutic. The last couple emails I've gotten They came in with the subject of please do not share. And as much as I appreciate that, what I'm telling you is everything I've read, very, very rarely do I find something that hasn't already been covered somewhere, either in another email or already been talked about on the show. To include the email we just read from Ashley. We've had a show about that topic earlier on. So we're not alone in this journey. None of us are so unique in that sense where we're walking this journey completely alone without guidance. And when you send in that email, it does two things. It validates for you, but if you're able to join the show when we do it live, you'll see the chime-ins of, yeah, I did that too. That happened to me. I understand. I get it. You can do it. Because we're all walking the same journey. We're all headed the same direction. There's many, many different ways to get there. There are many obstacles along the way. But I want that email because I want you to celebrate. And I want you to be proud of what you're doing. I want you to reach back and encourage someone else to do it. You can do this. Absolutely can do this. And I will be here to celebrate with you when you do. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus. Thank you for listening to the WhysAdvice podcast. Did you know for as little as $1 a month, you can take the next step as a wingman and support the show? Visit FatDag.com, click on Become a Patron today.